Having a patient who has contracted HIV, that is the human immune deficiency virus, and after that, the development of AIDS is a topic of discussion. Obviously, not all the patients who have contracted HIV do not develop or do not go into the formation of AIDS, that is the acquired immune deficiency syndrome. It is the CD4 count that is quite critical in such patients. What basically happens is we have a close follow-up of these patients. The CD4 counts are quite critical. If there are less than 200, that is the onset or that is the major event that basically highlights the start or the beginning of the acquired immune deficiency syndrome in such patients. If the patient has contracted HIV or the human immune deficiency virus and the CD4 counts are more than 500 per cubic millimeter, so that is basically highlighting that the patient has not yet acquired this acquired immune deficiency syndrome, although he has that virus or the human immune deficiency virus in his blood. But still, the syndrome has not manifested in such patients. Why are these CD4 counts or these CD4 cells important? They are basically the T cells that make the person able to fight the infections. If the CD4 count levels are low, he or she won't be able to fight off the infections. And if the levels go below the level of 200 per cubic millimeter, it is quite critical, and that basically manifest the availability of acquired immune deficiency syndrome in such patients. So the lab investigation that is known as the CD4 count is the mainstay over here in such patients who have contracted the HIV or the human immune deficiency virus. So there are a lot of biological aspects after a person has acquired the human immune deficiency virus. So we'll be discussing all of these biological aspects over here in this very first section. First of all, the neuropsychiatric manifestations of AIDS is the main crux over here that we'll be talking about, and we'll be moving on to the biological, social, the psychosocial aspects that are quite prevalent in such patients who have contracted such a terminal illness where treatment modalities are not quite frequently available for these patients. So there are a lot of neuropsychiatric complications that can concur in such patients. We'll be discussing them over here. In this very first section. The key points of considerations will also be discussed over here. In such patients, we should consider all these points to be very important, ranging from the biological, ranging from the social aspects, because it's basically a taboo that is considered in these societies. So usually these people have been isolated, and this isolation can lead to a lot of neuropsychiatric complications. May it be depression, may it be anxiety. All of these are quite prevalent in such patients, and we'll be discussing them over here in this first section. When we talk about the neuropsychiatric manifestations of AIDS, we can basically categorize them into the biological aspects. Then we have the psychological neuropsychiatric complications of this syndrome, and then we have the social complications as well. Social complications we've already highlighted. It's basically considered as a taboo. People don't have awareness towards this kind of a syndrome. Usually it is considered to be contagious, and people don't know the routes of transmission to this kind of a virus or to this kind of a syndrome. So to get the people aware regarding the spread of infection in such a case is again the highlight over here, and that basically can resolve a lot of social issues for such patients. The key points that should be considered in such a case, that is basically HIV has a global impact. So it's quite an underrated problem, and one should know that it's quite prevalent and is frequently being diagnosed these days. So one should know it has a global impact, and one should work globally towards the betterment of such patients. Effects can be understood on the variety of dimensions when we talk about it. The biological effects related to the host and the virus interactions is very important and is very critical when we talk about them. The psychological effects that are related to the neuropsychiatric impacts and the pre-existing vulnerabilities, because these patients are more vulnerable to the contraction of different infections. They have the low CD4 counts and they are more vulnerable to the contraction of infections. So these vulnerabilities should be taken into account when you have these patients in your wards, in your OPDs, or even around you in your surroundings. So the social effects may vary by time and place in these patients, depending upon the severity of the disease or the staging of the disease, whether it is an early, middle, or the late onset of the disease in the patients. The biological aspects that we should consider are the complications that depend on the severity of the immune suppression. So obviously, we have that patient who is immune suppressed. He can contract even the slightest infections in his environment. So considering these facts are very important. Making his environment infection-free is very important to get a better lifestyle for these patients. Differential diagnosis basically changes from person to person. The early, middle, and the late stages of the illness is how we basically define the disease after the contraction of the HIV, and is basically depending upon the CD4 counts in these patients. The definition that we usually come across is basically above 400 to 500 CD4 counts, we have an asymptomatic patient. Usually the people who have more than 500 CD4 counts, they lead a normal life. Even they have contracted HIV and they have HIV in their blood. Non-HIV related psychiatric syndromes are more likely to be present in the environment. The global HIV rates that we have been seeing in 2014, people living with HIV, that is 36.9 million. Almost new HIV infections was almost 2 million, and the AIDS-related deaths was almost 1.2 million deaths were recorded. This is according to a survey that was carried out in 2014. Be wary of early presentations of HIV-related syndromes. So the HIV-related syndromes are quite different from the AIDS. AIDS is basically when we say that the person has less than 200 CD4 counts per cubic millimeter, and then there are these early presentations of HIV, and one should be aware of these symptomatologies, these signs and symptoms, because usually these patients will come up to you in the OPDs, in the outpatient departments, and you should know how to cater with these patients. The key points that we should consider are the high CD4 usually found early in the infection, but the rate of progression is extremely variable in these patients. The case of multi-drug resistant HIV should be recorded as well. Then we have the rapid progression to AIDS in the New York City background. So it's basically the lifestyle and the awareness that we give to people is very important to get a decrease in this progression rates, even in the developed countries. So over here, we gave an overview about the HIV, the virus itself, and then the syndrome, which is known as AIDS, which is contracted after you have HIV in your blood. So that is the end of this section. Thank you for watching Scaria.com.